You shall not pass. All right. Welcome, everybody, to another movie of Talking Movies, TV shows, talking with my best friend and next door neighbor, Stephen Dodd. I'm Brian Hoff. And on today's episode, we are talking about the new Lord of the Rings animated series on Prime. Was it? Is it Prime's?
Well, you're wrong on two counts
On
there,
Prime?
Brian. Yeah, first of all, it's a movie.
It's on Max.
Not
It's on Max.
series, and
The
it's on
Max.
Max. Come on.
Oh for 2. You're on the back. Dodd's doing the intros from now on.
No, it was great. I mean, the way we started that we need that more of that. But Brian, did you know that this is not the only animated Lord of the Rings film to come out?
Oh, like in general, or
yes,
like they have another. Well, did you that's how Lord of the Rings and the Hobbit started?
Well, animated
movies. Yeah, there's like old ones, and they have like great soundtracks. And like the Hobbit, it's like in the early
1977. There's one of them. There's one of them. Yeah,
but they did the Hobbits too, right? There's like I felt like there was a Hobbits one too, and there's also, was there a live action one done a long time ago too? With there's some characters that Peter Jackson didn't use from Tolkien that like the older ones did, and it was a little bit. It has a weird feel. Like there's like a giant who's kind of like Switzerland in it all, but Roger, I forget his name, but yeah, there's a bunch of there was a bunch of other stuff I remember.
Okay, you're right. So there's actually one made in 1978, 1980, and then 1977. Now, I'll tell you what. I've seen the 1977 The Hobbit animated film. I thought it was terrible. Couldn't even watch it. But I haven't seen these others, so now I got to really do my homework. I thought I was like, oh, there's only one of them in 1977. No, not the case. So Brian was right. Now
you got fact checked.
Yes, I did. I got fact checked by myself, basically. Via good old artificial intelligence. Now, what did you think about the animation style? Because here's what I'll say that I felt as soon as I started watching it. There was something very strange about the smoothness of movements. Mm-hmm. And that was very disrupting. So, for instance, in the first couple minutes, there's a horse that comes down this pathway. And the way that, again, I don't know what I'm talking about when it comes to the intricacies of animation and how these things were designed, but it was almost like the shutter was off. It was a little jolty. Did you see that? Am I going crazy or what?
So what I noticed from the animation, and like you, I draw and paint as well, so I have a little bit of idea of what goes into the animation, and I'm an animated person, so I don't know if that helps at all with understanding animation. But what I noticed was I thought that the background was like, I thought the backgrounds were really like well done. Like they were really clean and really pretty, and like really realistic, maybe.
Yes.
And I felt like there was like a separation between them and the characters, where it felt like it was more so like they were like a cutout on top of the background, where they didn't blend in well with the background art. It was like, so I almost think that maybe that's what we were seeing, is like it was the lack of meshing between the characters and their background. Of like,
I noticed that
they
too.
drew the backgrounds and just didn't do like enough like shadow, or just that when the horse is running, dirt flying up from the trail, things that marry the two together. If it wasn't enough of that. And again, it's Lord of the Rings, Tales of Rohirrim.
Oh, it's oh gosh. I mean, I don't know how to say it, but it's Rohirrim. Yeah, I'm not even going to try.
What is it? The Lord of the Rings, The Legend of Rohirrim.
The War of Rohirrim. I'm screwing that up bad. I know that I'm screwing that up bad, but that's interesting. I did notice that, and right, maybe that's what I'm talking about. But the backgrounds and were more realistic looking. You could still tell they were animated, but it was close
Yeah.
compared to the characters. That was interesting, and so yeah, I thought it really wasn't that fluid. I'm very happy, and I thought it was cool that a Japanese guy directed this,
Oh, interesting.
Kenji Kamiyama, which was really neat because it did feel like an anime-esque movie within an older, archaic world, and I thought that blend was unique right away. That's why I clicked on it basically because I was like, "What's this?"
Yeah, and first off, I think the fact that I can't even pronounce this title in a way kind of discredits anything that I have to say about this project. So I understand if you're like, he can't even freaking say the name. Why?
Yeah, it's valid. Neither can I. Neither can I.
That's valid. That's valid. So I apologize for that, and yeah, that's what it is. And I maybe one day I'll figure out how to pronounce these names. But my thing with this Lord of the Rings project is, okay, yes, they brought back the music, which they didn't for the Rings of Power, where they were like, where the classic Lord of the Rings, dun, 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 it has that score, which is iconic. The second you hear, you're like, this is Lord of the Rings. And they did it a little bit for this, but then you have like the main character is like I'm trying to like Hera,
Oh
and it
boy,
just
yeah.
like it was like, all right, you're going Hera, but like this doesn't feel Lord of the Rings name. It was like we're gonna throw again like the suit of Lord of the Rings on this, and it didn't really feel like a Lord of the Rings project. I just like wasn't getting that medieval elvish like the same tone of fantasy out of this. I was almost getting like more of like Witcher feels. Like I was like, this doesn't feel like, I know you're throwing the music at this, but this doesn't feel like the Lord of the Rings IP. And almost like I felt like did a disservice to the story, where it's like, just be your own thing. You didn't need to be Lord of the Rings. Like, this isn't even about the rings. This is about what they were talking about. What is this? What's even the plot of this? It's not about the rings. It's about,
or yeah, it's the
it's like a prequel.
Right. And I would say actually disagree a little bit. I felt like it was within that, but I get what you're saying with the Witcher comparison. Actually, I think that's kind of a neat thing. And just to sidetrack for a minute here, we need to give credit to Warner Brothers. They, more so than any other studio by a long shot, have been investing year over year in animated movies that either relate to comic books or animated stuff like this. And I really appreciate that. And I think that's super cool. I looked up some of the numbers on that, and it's not even close. It's not even close.
Well, this isn't really related, but within the terms of animation, did you just see that? I mean, I've told you about this movie a long time ago that I absolutely loved, Chinese production, Neza, and they did a Neza Born, and they just made it Neza 2, which is in box office right now, and it's grossing $2 billion.
Wow.
It's the biggest movie ever, and it was so good. And I'm like, it's in theaters now. I can't find it here in the US. It's a little too far, showing a little too far away from me. But I think, like you said, animation has a huge audience, and America might be a little bit behind on it in terms of like the adults. But like you said, I do applaud. There is more every day. I think people are opening themselves up to animation and the possibility of like, hey, like I'll watch this. It's becoming more and more legit of a genre in Hollywood and the American film industry. And, I applaud too. And I hope that they keep going with this field because I do think like they've done with The Witcher. I didn't like the Witcher series with Henry Cavill at all, but this one Witcher movie, they didn't, not the recent one they did, but they did Witcher about 3 or 4 years ago by an Asian director, and it was amazing. It was really good. I think you can do things you can't do in live action, and I hope that they keep pushing that space. So yeah, you got to give it to them on HBO. They've done some good adult animation content, and I do support that, and I love animation as well. So it's and this might be a little segue as well into something that we didn't plan on talking, but I would recommend checking out Invincible on Prime. It's pretty good. It's pretty gritty. It's an adult. It's Rob Kirkman created it, who also created The Walking Dead.
Okay.
And it's another comic series that based off a comic series that he did. He's just converting his comic series of Image Comics, where he's the executive producer and creative director underneath Todd McFarlane, who was the artist from Marvel who created Spawn and left Marvel and created Image Graphics. So I wonder if there's like this I would almost like, I wish I could invest on, if like I could invest on like Prime and Image Graphics making a partnership near future of like, hey, Marvel and Disney kind of have this relationship. I think this Image Graphics and Prime can have potential to be something big, because I'm a big comic book reader, and Image Graphics has got some great IP, even IP that I'm trying to like convert. And I almost, maybe we want to cut this because I almost like there's some gold there that like I don't want other people, like I kind of want to keep it a little bit, because there is some serious IP coming out of Image Graphics.
By the way, Spawn, another Warner Brothers situation right there.
Yeah.
And this director of this particular animated film was the same director as Ghost in the Shell, the animated film. Right. So I think the thing that I wanted to say from an executive standpoint or a money standpoint, this is an easy sell for anime fans. Easy sell, right? To just click and watch. I think it's an easy sell as well for anybody who likes Lord of the Rings. And I gave it a 7 out of 10. I thought the score was excellent. I thought the story was very good. But overall, I didn't love it. I thought it was solid.
I just can't give it a 7 out of 10 because of where Lord of the Rings is at. The IP. They have needed something bigger than this. This isn't gonna make waves. They if this was released right after you just released Return of the King, great. Kind of expand the universe, kind of branch out. But it's been too long, and after the Rings of Powers and their lack of success, I really think that this should have been almost like what they're doing with Harry Potter and Warner Brothers, of like turn the Lord of the Rings into an animated series and redo the series
or a sweet video game that billion people would have played. Yeah, right.
I mean, honestly, I mean, the video games just as like, and those video games, I love those games back in the day. There was like they're like, it wasn't open world by any means, but it was a dope like challenge and redo the battles. But yeah, I just think that they needed something a little bit more.
So you didn't hate it?
I didn't hate it, but I think that the fact that it dressed itself as Lord of the Rings made me be like, this isn't what they needed, and this isn't what I wanted from Lord of the Rings right now. You haven't
Yeah.
given me
Yeah.
anything, and now you gave me just something that I can like can't do anything with again. It's like
Yeah,
it's
I
a
think
little bit.
that's a valid thing what you're saying. I mean, you're talking about for the last four if you're Lord of the Rings as far as quality cinema and overall product goes. Yeah, you're 0 for 4. I mean, The Hobbit being redone,
Yeah.
yeah. So I mean, so
I mean,
that's
even longer than 0 for 4. I mean, you're
yeah.
you're
I
0
can't
for
even
all the
keep track.
Hobbit. You're
Right.
both seasons of Ring of Powers,
Yes. Right.
and
More
now you got this. So it's like you just needed a hit. You needed something.
and you didn't deliver. You
You
didn't deliver.
It's almost like you either you go further away or you stay right on, and
Yeah.
you chose in between where it's like, do we give me more of like, what they should have done? They should have done Boromir and Faramir OG story, where because the most interesting aspect of Lord of the Rings that I don't think that people talked about and understood is that based off of the world of Middle Earth, Boromir and Boromir were like the closest to Mordor.
Hmm.
And they were like the city that was keeping Mordor from expanding further. So they had more interactions with Saruman, and so that's why I think Boromir like got manipulated more by the ring in the show because he in the movie is because this threat's more present to him than I think the other characters.
That already sounds more interesting than the Hobbit remakes. I mean, there's no doubt.
Yeah, and just do like a story with them, and it's just like going to fight like maybe like the discovery of like I know they're kind of trying to do it with the Rings of Power, but like get Sean Martin or Sean Brady, what like his name is, who played Boromir,
Oh, okay.
and like get him. I know he's a lot older now, but
No, but I get what you're saying, and I think yeah, the overall thought I think that both of us agree on is this could have been a lot better. I liked it, but I didn't love it. Brian thought it was and they've really been on a bad streak. And I bet you a lot of OG Hobbit reading fans would concur with that. I'd be surprised.
I just think
If
it's
people,
dead.
yeah, I mean, again, just like SpongeBob, we talked about. You mean these things really need to either cut it off and start something new or find the best writers in the world and get it done. But either way, we appreciate you guys listening. Let us know in the comments if you liked it, if you thought it was good. Did you like it more than the Hobbit movies? We'd love to hear your thoughts in the comments, and then we will reply to that certainly. So, folks, as always, we really appreciate it.
Yeah, we appreciate you guys watching. And last little thing is if you got the keys to the next Lord of the Ring project, what would you make?
That's a good, yeah, I like that.
Comment. That's a good.
Let us know.
We'll see you next time, and maybe for the next episode we're gonna pick the best idea if anybody even leaves a comment.